Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing my May TBR. I have 4 books on my May TBR, which is not as ambitious as I would have liked because I finished my finals last week at St. Lawrence University. I finished my freshman year, thank God. And I'm just going to be sharing with you my May TBR for this month. The first book I've selected to read is called A Gentleman in Moscow by May. I'm actually currently reading this book. I am on page 130. This is actually a book of the month. I chose it as an add-on a couple months ago, and I am very excited to read this. This book follows a young man named Count Rostov who is living in early 20th century Russia, and he is forced to live under house arrest in the metropole because of the Bolshevik regime, and he is an aristocrat because he's a count. And he meets lots of different people on the way and really gains a different perspective for life. The reason why I chose this book to read, other than the fact that it has been snowing for the last week and that is giving me very Russian vibes, I have a little bit of a Russian obsession. My junior year of high school, I created a Russian independent study, and I started reading War and Peace and Brothers Karamazov, which was quickly followed by Crime and Punishment, and then various fantasy novels like The Bear and the Nightingale, Uprooted, The Sisters of Winterwood, etc. so forth. I have so many, I can't even begin to name them all. So this is just continuing this Russian obsession for me. Not sure if it's a healthy one. And so far, I am really enjoying it. But you'll have to watch my May wrap-up to get my final thoughts. The second book I have selected for this month is called The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare. This book is also a book of the month. I chose it for my February 2020 box. I actually think this is The Gentleman of Moscow was the add-on for this box. This book tells the story of a young Nigerian girl named Aduni. She is sold as a wife, and then eventually she's sold to be a servant, and she really has no control over her life. But what gives her control is education, because education gives her a voice. And this just basically follows the tale of her finding her voice and then using her voice. I chose this book as my book of the month, largely because the bright colors on the cover attracted me. But once I read the synopsis, I was totally hooked. I think this story will provide a really uplifting and empowering tale in these hard times that we are all facing. And also, I think Aduni will be a really likable character, and I'm excited to hear her voice. I also chose this book because this past fall I took a class at college about African myth and reality, and I learned a lot about the stereotypes and the myths, and realized that I don't really know that much about the African continent or the African countries themselves. I am so excited. The bright colors on this book are to die for. And I'm really excited to get to that next. The third book I've chosen is titled Reading with Patrick by Michelle Kuo. This story follows Michelle Kuo's journey as a teacher for the Teach for America program. She works in one of the poorest counties in the entire United States, and she really sees the legacy that Jim Crow has left behind, as well as the remnants of slavery. She works with a lot of students, and one of them is Patrick. And they develop a special relationship, but eventually she moves on and gets a real job. But after she goes to law school and becomes a lawyer, she hears that one of her close students, Patrick, has been arrested for murder. And so she goes back to be with Patrick and to tutor him. I actually went to an author's night for this book. We call it a writer's series at St. Lawrence University, and I was obsessed with Michelle Kuo. She really had amazing insight to bring about the power of reading and the power of education. As someone who loves to read and someone who has had reading change their life time and time again, I knew that I had to read this book because I love to hear how reading impacts other people's lives. This book also really explores the relationship between education and race in this country, which is an extremely hot topic and prevalent topic, and I want to become more educated on that. I was drawn by the power of reading in this story, but I was also mostly drawn by Michelle Kuo's amazing lecture during the writer's series. She really, really moved me. And I got her to sign it, which was definitely a highlight. My final book for this month is titled I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zuzak. In this story, Ed Kennedy is a kind of a loser. He's a cab driver. He doesn't really have much of a life until he receives a message and becomes the messenger. I haven't really done much research beyond that premise because I kind of want it to be a surprise because I know this is a mystery novel. To be honest, the reason why I picked this book up is because we don't have that many options at home. The libraries are closed, so I can't go get them. My sister read this book. She loved it. I've read The Book Thief. I loved it. So, if you got to the end of the video, thank you all for watching. And if you come back at the end of May, I'll have my May wrap up. But in the meantime, I would love to hear your book recommendations in the comments down below. I will also maybe post some videos about St. Lawrence University. If any of you are interested in that, just let me know. Subscribe, give this video a like, and I will see you next week.